Welcome, everybody, to The Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert, and we, right now, is this true? Do I have this right? We are almost 5 weeks into Russia's 3-day conquest of Ukraine. And while Putin's monstrous war against the Ukrainian people continues to grind on, there have been some interesting developments in the peace talks taking place down in Istanbul. Here's one thing. To signal their willingness to compromise, the Russians have just announced that they will sharply reduce military activity near Kyiv, an area where, and I'm sure this is just a coincidence, they're getting their ass handed to them by the Ukrainians. In a related story, nothing to do with it. In a related story from March Madness, after losing to North Carolina, St. Peter's has announced they will sharply reduce basketball activity near the Final Four. So anyway, the peace talks continue, and today we saw a few signs of progress, including Ukraine's proposal for a 15-year process of negotiations about the status of Crimea. Now, that's very clever. 15 years is a long time, and Putin's not a young man. In 15 years, he's going to need one of those horses that goes upstairs. Okay? They sell those. They advertise those on Fox. Now, even though there's marginal progress, the vibes at these meetings have been very uneasy. There were reports that talks kicked off with no handshake, and Ukraine warned its negotiators not to eat, drink, or even touch anything. So basically, New York subway rules. All of us who live in the city, when you come here, you guys know, when you move here, they teach you the rhyme. If it's red, stand instead. If it's brown, stay downtown. If it's waxy, take a taxi. Ukraine has good reason to be cautious because yesterday we found out that in earlier talks, Ukrainian peace negotiators showed signs of poisoning after meeting the Russians. Poisoning peace negotiators, of course, reminds me of the classic John Lennon song.
All we are saying is give peace. My eyes!
One person, still beautiful. Still a beautiful message. One person is Yoko. That last part was Yoko, I think. One person, I don't know why I'm laughing saying this sentence. One person who was poisoned was Roman Abramovich, owner of the Chelsea soccer club. Okay, that's a little suspect. He may have been poisoned, but you know these soccer guys. You just brush past them and they do this.
Ah! I'm poisoned!
One of the strangest details to emerge was that the victims consumed only chocolate and water in the hours before the symptoms appeared. That chocolate? Kit Kat, Marcinic bars, and Cadbury My Enemies. Yesterday, President Biden held a press conference, and he was asked a ridiculous question by a ridiculous man, Fox News reporter, and that one kid in high school who wears a suit to gym class, Peter Doocy. Jimmy, drop the deuce.
When you said a chemical weapon use by Russia would trigger a response in kind.
It will trigger a significant response.
What does that mean?
I'm not going to tell you. Why would I tell you? You got to be silly.
Remember, yes. Remember how on last night's show I said that slapping is never, ever the answer? I'd like to file a one-time exemption on behalf of the President of the United States. And no, it's wrong, Louis.
You gotta let him know.
It's wrong. Doocy did not stop there.
The world wants to know?
The world wants to know a lot of things. I'm not telling them what the response would be. Then Russia knows the response.
Mr. President, you said...
All right, I'm going to take 2 more questions.
Peter Doocy, Fox News. I've got 2 more questions. First, what are the exact locations of all of America's troops? And can you give me the nuclear launch codes? Just tell me, is one of them a 4? Can I buy a vowel, Mr. President? I'd like to solve the puzzle. Another feather in your map. Speaking of Fox News viewers, former President Koopa Loompa. The January 6th committee is closing in on him. Yesterday, a federal judge ruled that the former president, more likely than not, committed a crime in trying to block the confirmation of Biden's win. Yeah, him criming seems like a fair bet pretty much any day. Matter of fact, here's a pie chart of all his potential activities. Crime, 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 golf, burger, steel burger at the golf course. Another good indicator that there's a crime is that there seems to be a poorly executed cover-up going on here. You see, the committee has the White House phone records from January 6th. And today we found out there's a gap in the former president's phone logs of 7 hours and 37 minutes, including the period when the Capitol was being violently assaulted. Instead, for all of those hours, all the White House phone records just say, scam likely. So, no calls all day long. If you think the investigators are worried, imagine how they feel at Wendy's. It's been 7 hours and he hasn't called. The Baconators are piling up. Something's not right. Check the dumpster. Maybe he fell asleep in there again. And, see, he's a raccoon. The president was a raccoon. Here's the thing. We know the former president spoke to people like Kevin McCarthy and Jim Jordan during those 7 hours and 37 minutes, which is why the House panel is now investigating whether he communicated that day through back channels, including using burner phones. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he already has a burner son. Last night, the former president denied the whole thing, claiming, I have no idea what a burner phone is. To the best of my knowledge, I have never even heard the term. Well, just because you've never heard of something doesn't mean you didn't use it. Your Honor, I can't have stabbed that man. I've never even heard of a kniffy. I wouldn't know. We've got an update on a story from yesterday about North Carolina congressman and photograph that came with the frame, Madison Cawthorne. Yesterday, I told you about the interview Cawthorne recently gave where he made some wild claims about Republicans in Washington, D.C.
I look at all these people, a lot of them that I've looked up to through my life. I've always paid attention to politics, guys that, then all of a sudden you get invited to, like, well, hey, we're going to have kind of a sexual get-together at one of our homes. You should come. And I'm like, what did you just ask me to come to? Yeah. And then you realize they're asking you to come to an orgy. Yeah. Or the fact that, there's some of the people that are leading on the movement to try and remove, addiction in our country. And then you watch them do, a key bump of cocaine right in front of you. And it's like, wow, this is wild. Yeah, this is wild. In that he acts very innocent, yet clearly knows what a key bump of cocaine is. Now, no surprise, his claims of cocaine-fueled, fiscally conservative flesh pits ruffled a few Republican feathers, which Cawthorne says they use to decorate their eyes wide shut masks. Yeah. So, tickle play, it's all tickle play. So ruffled were those feathers that earlier today, House Minority Leader and guy at the orgy cooling his wang in the spinach dip. Kevin, you gotta cool it down every so often. It's like a drill bit. Kevin McCarthy. Sorry, was that shocking, Lewis? I'm so sorry. I know you're a nice person. I apologize. McCarthy felt it necessary to hold a meeting in which multiple Republicans in the room stood up to air their anger and frustration over Cawthorne portraying his own colleagues as bacchanalian and sexual deviants. Well, I can understand why they're upset. By not naming names, Cawthorne has implicated the entire GOP. I mean, the guy with the orgy and cocaine could be any Matt Gaetz. We got a great show for you tonight. My guests are Sandra Bullock and comedian Hannah Gadsby. But when we come back, meanwhile, join us, won't you?